everyone, it's Vicky here from Crafty Heaven, and thank you very much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this Concertina pop-up card, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But the products I've used for this card, we have used Simply Made Crafts Celebrate the Seasons paper pack and ephemera. I've also used a Simply Made Crafts stamp set. This came in the Craft Stash Advent Calendar. I'm using the Paper Discovery Elegant Nursery Alphabet and Bunting die set to use the letters. Then I used a Paper Craft Society box, and this is number 45, and this was by Stamps by Me. Stamp sets Have I Ever Told You and You Are Very Special to Me. Then I used the Creative Craft products, and this is the Impossible Cards Portrait versus Stamp set, and I used this one here that says I love you more than yesterday but not half as much as tomorrow. And then finally I used a Martha Stewart border punch. So they're the products that I've used. If any are still available, I will link them down below. Simply Made Crafts ones will probably still be available because the paper pack is fairly new. But as for everything else, I'm not entirely sure. But like I said, if they're still available, I'll link them down below. So this is a card, and this is actually for my nonna, and she turns 96 in a few weeks. So I wanted the front to be quite simple because I wanted the inside of the card to be more of the main focus. So as you can see, I've used the Martha Stewart border punch to create this cross, and then I've used the Simply Made Crafts ephemera and the Birthday Wishes ephemera as well, and then it opens up like so. And this was inspired by the lovely Sam at Mixed Up Craft, and I followed her tutorial to make this card. I'll link her video down below as well. So she inspired me to create this card, and there's no dies involved either to make the concertina, so always a bonus. So as you can see, I've spelled Nonna at the top, and then it says have I ever told you I love you more than yesterday but not half as much as tomorrow, and then I've put her age that she will be turning at the bottom. And I just love how this turned out. And then I've done some embossing and colouring in with my alcohol markers. So this is a card we're going to be creating today, and I hope that you enjoy the tutorial, and let's get started. So for the card base, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 10 inches by 7, and along the 10-inch side you will score at 5. And then you'll fold on that score line to get your 5 by 7 card base. Then for the concertina section, I've already prepped it ready, but as you can see we've got this rectangle aperture, and I've already cut this section out. But to achieve that, you're going to need a piece of card again at 10 by 7. Along the 10-inch side you will score at every 1 inch. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then the center score line, which is at 5 inches, you would fold that over. So if you just imagine that this is still all complete, you'd line that fold edge into your scoreboard, and you will score at 1.5 inches down past the first score line, past the second, and then down to the third, which will be the 3-inch line here. Then you'll move across and do the same at 5.5, so score down to that 3-inch score line. And then you would cut this section out. So you'd cut down that 1.5 inch score line down to the 3-inch one, cut across here, and then cut up this one here. So then it will look like that. So we're going to fold this piece here, And the first score line, you're going to do a valley fold. The next one is a mountain. The next one, valley, mountain, valley, mountain, valley, mountain, and then the last one you're going to do as a valley. And then you're just going to burnish that piece, so then you get this concertina fold card that measures 8 inches by 3 3/4, and I'm going to score at 1 3/4, 4 and 6 1/4. So we're going to bring back our card base, and we're going to bring in this concertina piece. Now this edge here that we did a valley, and this side here that we did a valley, we're going to glue on the ends of our card. So then you will glue it here and here. So I'm going to use my collal because I want to make it, this piece here, nice and sturdy. So I'm going to add glue to this end one here, this edge with the edge of this card here. So I'm just going to line that up and then hold that in place, and then we're going to get this end and again add liquid glue onto this one. I'm going to line up the edge here with the edge of this card. So I'm going to lift the card base up slightly and glue that down. And then if you just bring in these two sections here and fold it up, and then fold your card in, and then just give that a press. Then when they open it up, it will look like that. And obviously that will strengthen up when I've added my paper and things like that. Just fold this flat, and we're going to line up the center fold with that center score line on our card base. Okay, so it would line up there, and obviously you want to make sure that it's all the same equal distance from the sides here, and then also the same at the top. And then I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to add glue to this section, glue that down. Okay, so I'm going to use my collal liquid glue and glue that over. So fold it over, keeping that center score line in place, and then stick that down. And then we're going to fold this one over, and we're going to add glue to this one here. And then we're going to fold that over like so. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that in place for just a moment till that glue sets. So when that's set, you're going to pop it up. Okay, so just bring it up like that, and then you're just going to just fold on those score lines to get that concertina fold. Okay, and do the same on this side. And don't worry, once you've got all your paper and things on that concertina section, that will all fold up nicely. It's just because there's nothing on the concertina part at the minute, it's quite flimsy. And then just fold your card over, and then when it opens up, it will look like that. Okay, so now we just need to decorate it. Okay, so I've gone ahead and decorated it, and I'm going to tell you the measurements for the matte and layering pieces. So for the front, I've done a piece of mirror card that is 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. Then the patterned paper is 4.5 by 5.5. and then I've just used a Martha Stewart border punch cross design, and then I've used the ephemera from Simply Made Crafts just to finish that card off. And then when we open up, it will look like this. So for the mat and layering pieces inside, so for these taller sections either side, you'll need 4 pieces of gold mirror card that measure 7/8 of an inch by 6 7/8, and then you'll need 4 pieces of pattern paper that measures 6 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch, and then you'll need 12 pieces of gold mirror card for these sections here, and they measure 7/8 by 1 3/8. Again, you'll need some pattern paper, and you'll need 12 of them, and they measure 1 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. Then for the center panels, for the gold, you'll need 2 that measure 2 1/8 by 3 5/8, and then you'll need some white card, 2 again, 3 1/2 by 2. Okay, and then I've just stamped and embossed my images, and then I've also stamped the sentiments, and I've die cut the word Nonna, and then I've put 96 on the end. And I really loved how this turned out, and I'm hoping that my Nonna will like this as well, which I'm sure she will, because she always keeps my cards that I've made for her. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If so, please give this video a big thumbs up. Please continue to support my channel by hitting the subscribe button. Till next time guys, take care. Bye.